Welcome everyone to this online new moon gathering. Can everyone hear me? Just give me a wave so that you show me that you can hear me. Beautiful. We're going to start this new moon circle today with song, how we usually do, sacred songs. And Sunette will be sharing the songs with us. So we invite you to please keep your camera or your sound on mute, but sing with in your room where you are. Unfortunately, we can't hear everyone's voice at the same time because it interferes and we can't hear the lovely Sunette singing, but we invite you. We can't hear you, so you can belt away. Yeah, and I'm going to introduce the lovely Sunette Flynn. She's gonna take it away and open this circle with sacred singing. Sunette, you can unmute yourself when you're ready.
Hello everybody, I'm Sunette. And I'll be opening with a song that I heard in the beginning of the year. I think it was just after lockdown. I also come with a bit of a disclaimer. Don't have a lot of lighting here. And I'm not really a musician. So I normally just sing in my own little personal moon circle. So this for me is quite scary. But let's bring on all those fears. So if I miss a note, the problem with singing is if you can't remember the words. So I often do that. But let's see how it goes. Be gentle with me in this sharing. It really makes me feel quite vulnerable and tender and scared. So yeah, let's see how technology serves me today. Quickly busy. We are the weavers of the world. We are the keepers of the flame. We are the ancient ones returned to reveal the holy name. There is fire in our blood. There is fire in our blood and it is sacred. There is fire in our blood. There is fire in our blood and it is sacred. We are the nurturers of life. We hold the mysteries of birth. Let us consecrate our blood for the healing of the earth. There is fire in our blood. There is fire in our blood and it is sacred. There is fire in our blood. There is fire in our blood and it is sacred. We are the sisters of the moon. We drum and sing her ancient song. We hold the power within our womb. To the great mother we belong. There is fire in our blood. There is fire in our blood and it is sacred. There is fire in our blood. There is fire in our blood and it is sacred. We are the daughters of Gaia. Through our cycles we're made whole. We are now the holy fire that burns deep within our soul. There is fire in our blood. There is fire in our blood and it is sacred. There is fire in our blood. There is fire in our blood and it is sacred. There is fire in our blood. There is fire in our blood and it is sacred. There is fire in our blood. There is fire in our blood and it is sacred. Sure. Okay, I don't know how that went. I certainly enjoyed it. So yeah, I just want to shake that one off a bit. Okay, so normally, it's still there. Normally, I can't see anybody. Okay, so normally for opening the circle, I've got a particular song, but I would like to do like a medley. I hope I remember everything. By the earth that is our body, by the air that is our breath, by the fire that is by the running waters of our womb. May the peace of the goddess guide us, be forever in our hearts. The circle is open but unbroken. Mary meet and Mary part. May all mothers know that they are loved, and may all sisters know that they are strong, and may all daughters know that they are powerful, that the circle of the goddess can go on. May all mothers know that they are loved, and may all daughters know that they are strong, and may all sisters know that they are powerful, so the circle of the goddess can go on. We're here, we're here, we're here, we're here, we're here. Oh, Mother, hear us calling. We're your children, seeking healing. Fire, fire, your love is on fire. Fire, fire, your love is on fire. Whoopsies. Sorry. Everybody fell on their face. And that's how we open the circle.
Thank you so much, Jeanette. Hello, everyone. I am Olivia. And to start, I want to copy something that Valentina always does in her circles. Everyone, I want you to take a moment just to look at everyone that joined the circle tonight. Take some time to scroll through either in gallery view, or if you just want to pin a few people and just imagine all these women are sitting in a circle around you. We are on an online circle. It's a bit strange, but how beautiful is it that we can join like this and gather from all around South Africa and even around the world. I know, Jan, you're joining from, were you joining from Canada, I think? Yeah. So take some time to look at all the beautiful sisters that are joining us tonight. Yeah, wave at each other. And if you want to, you can even type to us in the chat room where you are joining from. It will be interesting to see.
Oh.
Wow, we've got someone from France, from Germany, Cape Town, Battydale, Red Hill, beautiful.
Wow.
Wow. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining. So just a little bit about, you can keep on looking at each other for a little bit while I just talk a little bit about new moon and new moon circles. So the beautiful Sinette Flynn that just blessed us with songs. We started doing new moon circles together in Worcester quite a few years ago. And yeah, it was just a beautiful way for women to come together and to set intention together, to share the hardships, the fuck-ups, and also the beautiful parts of life, support one another. And also just, yeah, I think the most powerful, one of the most powerful things for me about New Moon Gathering was getting to tap into the feminine, like different variations of the feminine, you know, the young, the old, the one who's done it, the one who's starting a new thing, to get all these different perspectives from these different women that I might not have had access to if I didn't have this gathering that that I decided to come to once a month to set intention and to share. And Corona time came and we had to take New Moon online, and it's been interesting and wonderful. And so we could join more women in circle. And for this week, so we do something else in our New Moon circle every month. And this month specifically, we are asking the Crones to come and share their wisdom with us, because this is something that I have found, as I just said, to be so powerful, is to, as women, to tap into the knowledge of one another, to know that we have these elders that have, they've done a lot of the things that we are doing and that we are trying to go through. And yeah, to have the opportunity to ask, you know, I don't know, certainly in my life, I've experienced that I can be quite, what's afgesonder in Engels? Quite, like, it can be quite lonely. You go to work, you do this, you do that. And I tend to like lose connection with that tribal connection with women. And Sunette and I just found this something to be very powerful, and we'd like to share this opportunity with you, because we are lucky to have access to these Crones quite often. So yeah, this is your opportunity to have access to them also. And we'll also be talking a bit about the red retreat, which we'll be talking about a bit in the end, which is basically an extended new moon circle where women come together, and it's like a 5-day new moon circle of gathering and being wild and dropping into the feminine and sharing and all those juicy things. Yeah, so thanks for tapping in and for being part of the circle. Sunette, I don't know if you want to talk a bit about the purpose of gathering and the divine feminine. If you have something to say on that, please share. Just unmute yourself.
Yeah, so hi everybody. If I knew there were so many faces, luckily I can only see like 6 or 9, because if I knew there were so many, I would have probably not gotten a note out, I'm telling you. So yeah, I can only speak from my own experience, and I've been lucky to share quite a few circles with Olivia. We started in the small town where we live in the Boerland. And I can tell you, once we started, it really shifted it. My whole life took a huge change, and I think if I now, because sometimes when things happen and it moves through you, afterwards you get the understandings. And as time went on for the last 4 years, I now understand that what I experienced was a deep calling. It was a very deep feeling of that, what Olivia was talking about, that yearning for that tribal, primal getting together with women. And I mean, you've got just your friends and your sister friends, but it's deeper than that. It's almost it's heavier than that. It's like a place where you can really be held by other women, and whatever comes up, and where you are totally accepted for who you are, where you can drop into parts of yourself that that maybe you didn't even know, and it's such a safe place that you can let that come out in whatever form it comes out. And I think starting a Newman circle is just touching on that. And if you get to something like a retreat where it's only that, you can really allow yourself to drop into that, that deep parts of yourself that you don't know. And if I have to just speak into having the privilege of having Crones in our lives, like the ones that are present tonight, it's really, really nice to be able to tap into that wisdom, because it's, I mean, we all have mothers and we all have people we can ask, but maybe a particular person hasn't been on a spiritual journey in that way. And I think Crones like that, we need to get to those ladies that has gone through that experience. Like I can just talk for myself. I'm a mother of a teenager, and I've gone through some stuff, and I could really ask somebody that knew. I could ask Carly, and she gave me such like profound advice, which my mom couldn't give me. So yeah, I think spaces like the Red Tent is just absolutely needed. It's in our time, we are so busy and we're so like pushing and going, that we don't really have a time to just hold each other, to just support each other, to just rest, to allow ourselves to be, yeah, to just to drop into that. Yeah, so that's my experience. Yeah.
Thank you, Sunette. So we usually do a few rituals and stuff, but tonight's new moon is a little different because we want to get into asking the Crones. Hopefully a lot of you have your questions ready, so we can give them a lot of time. Before we go into that, we're just going to do a small little dropping in and feeling in an intention setting. And then straight after that, we can go in. So for now, just forget about your questions. Before we go into that, I want to invite everyone. I'm going to ask you 2 questions. And I'm going to give you some time to feel into it. And I'm going to play a little piece for you also that you can listen into. So what I'm going to ask you is, number 1, everyone, let's do this together. Actually, close your eyes. Take a couple of deep breaths into the nose and out through the mouth. 2 more. Really sound your breath out. And I want to invite you, instead of answering your question with the mind, try to see if you can feel it in your body. So the first question is, what is alive in you right now? And I'm going to give you time to feel into it. You don't have to answer it right now. You can scan through your body throughout the song that I'm going to play. And the second question is, how can you make your life more wonderful? And just those two things. Feel that throughout the playing of the piece. And maybe I want to invite you also, you can move it around in your body. You can undulate, you can lie down, you can breathe it. And if you have an answer, you can type it in the chat box. But for the first couple of moments, see if you can just feel it. Can everyone hear the sound? If you can just...
Despite it all, black and white, Asian, Spanish, Native American, pretty, plain, thin, fat. Vowed or celibate, we rise. You may write me down in history with your bitter, twisted lies. You may trod me in the very dirt, but still like dust, I'll rise. Does my sassiness upset you? Why are you beset with gloom? Just 'cause I walk as if I have oil wells pumping in my living room. Just like suns and like moons, with the certainty of tides, just like hope springing high. Still I rise. Did you want to see me broken? Bowed head and lowered eyes, shoulders falling down like teardrops, weakened by my soulful cries. Does my sassiness upset you? Don't take it so hard just 'cause I laugh. As if I have gold mines digging in my own backyard. You can shoot me with your words. You can cut me with your lies. You can kill me with your hatefulness. But just like life, I'll rise. Does my sexiness offend you? Oh. Does it come as a surprise that I dance? As if I have diamonds at the meeting of my thighs. Out of the huts of history's shame I rise. Up from a past rooted in pain I rise. A black ocean leaping and wide, welling and swelling, I bear in the tide. Leaving behind nights of terror and fear, I rise. Into a daybreak miraculously clear, I rise. Bringing the gifts that my ancestors gave. I am the hope and the dream of the slave. And so, naturally, there I go rising. Naturally. There I go rising. Naturally. There I go rising.
So what is alive in you right now? And how can you make life more wonderful? We've got some beautiful answers. Anouk said relentless and looking for peace. Restlessness, looking for peace and quiet. Laurel says at this moment I am fertile with possibility and curiosity for who it is I emerge as in this rebirthing. Wow. Tamara says, what is alive right now? A sensory fertility, accessing and acknowledging my superpower of body being able to bleed out fluids and tears and release stagnation and feel the pulse of the world, embodied by animals giving birth and blossoms emerging from dormancy. Wow. Thank you for that one. Wow. Okay, diamonds merging from my thighs as well. Beautiful. Stunning. Thank you, everyone. Keep on sharing if you still cannot be more wonderful than this. Oh, stunning. So we ask in every new moon, we write intentions for the next month until the next new moon. And that question, how can you make life more wonderful? That's the question that I'm asking. That's your intention that you can set for the next new moon. So you can write it down on a piece of paper, something you want to focus your energy on for the next month. Then you can reflect back on the next new moon. Oh, wow, beautiful, more beautiful sharings coming in. Okay. So we're going to dive into asking the Crones right now. But before that, I want to just introduce the Crones. I don't know if all of you know them. It is Valentina Leo, aka MrsLove. We've got Kylie Weir, there she is, waving. The Crones just wave when I say your name so people can know who you are. And then we've got, yes, wave like a queen. And then we've got Kylie Weir there. Kylie, you can wave to us. Thank you. Oh, what a crone wave, beautiful. And then we have Rianne van der Linde. Hello, Rianne. Please give us your graceful crone wave so that they can see you. Or a signal or something. Yes, thank you. And then we have another crone who will also be on the Red Retreat, who can't join us this evening. She is being wild in the mountains. Lola Woodendal. She won't be answering questions, but she will be a crone on the retreat. I actually want to play you a video of her just so you can get to know her and get a feel of her also. And then right after that, we're going to jump into the question asking. So maybe you guys can feel into if there's anything you want to ask. And we're going to do it in the format of either you can post it in the chat box and I can read it out, or if you have a deep yearning, you can also speak it, but just let me know in the box. So think about that while I just get you can start typing it if you want to, some of the questions, while I just prepare the video of Lola, the wild mountain woman. Okay.
Olivia.
Yes, go ahead, Kylie.
Just to say the question specific more to the red tent and the tradition of women gathering and what we explore in this space, what the benefits are, those kind of questions, because we obviously can't go into deep personal exploration. There isn't time for that tonight. But yeah, just if it's related to sisterhood and the benefits of gathering, why do we do it? How do we do it? That kind of thing.
Good morning, beautiful woman. I'm greeting you here from the Breda River, where she is full and lush in a misty cloak, mysterious and wild. I greet you here from the banks of the river, where we would gather as women, to come down to pray. Like the songs say, we will come down to pray. For me, it's a rich honor and privilege to invite you to come to the river where I grew up. This river to me has been my teacher, my mother, my playmate. This river where she is in the final stages before she meets the sea, her final rocky stages. She's in her full maturity and joyfulness and playfulness. So we will celebrate, we will pray through dance, we will pray through sitting in a circle, we will do eating together in ceremony. Everything we will do in a place where we can remember what it means to be women together on the land. Yeah, we will also do at the end, at the last, we will close our gathering with a sweat ceremony that is for purification and a thanksgiving, where we can go then and back into the world, reborn fresh from all levels, from our internals, and also as a symbolism of strength to go back into the world. So woman, this river is calling you. She's calling you to come and pray and to come and play. Ah, my heart is so open and so full. See you soon.
Beautiful. That was Lola speaking about the Red Retreat, and she's actually sitting at the river, I think. Is that the river where the retreat is actually held on? So the Red Retreat is next to this beautiful river in the Breda Valley, and that's the one you saw in that video. How stunning. Okay, so we are going to hit away with the questions. Everyone, if you can, please type them in the chat box. I am going to be naughty and start with the questioning. And Crones, you can decide who wants to answer. Maybe just raise your hand. And Crones, I want to ask you actually unmute yourselves. Valentina and Rianne, please also unmute yourselves. And then just raise your hand and then I'll say. So I'm going to start off with, what is a crone? Whoever wants to answer that.
Sorry, I'm having some technical. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
A crone is the one that she's been crowned by life, by her own inner wisdom.
Yeah, I agree with that, Valentina. A crone comes from the word crown, so she's a queen. She's the one who's moved through all the incarnations of what it is to be feminine, from maiden to mother to crone, and every archetype of the feminine in between. And she's a shapeshifter. She's a magician. And what I've learned from menopause is that because we don't bleed, our blood doesn't leave our bodies every month, it stays within the body. That blood, which is the blood of life, which is the blood of creativity, because it's retained, gives us superpowers and allows us to really have psychic ability, true psychic ability, and also telepathic ability. So we're able to communicate and connect with all of life. So unlike how we've been conditioned to believe that crones are washed up, old, dried up, useless to society, except perhaps as a grandmother, the crone is actually the most powerful expression of the feminine. And that's why she was so denigrated, to make us believe that she's not important. So we're reclaiming crone. You know, some people say to me, oh, shame, Carly, you're a crone. Oh, you know, poor you. And I'm like, no, it's fantastic. I love being a crone and I'm celebrating being a crone and I'm reclaiming my crown. So that for me is what a crone is.
the crone is the woman who has stepped fully into herself and become exactly who she is. She's shamelessly and unapologetically herself. And she's the most important thing for her is truth, rather than being nice or fitting in or belonging or being liked. It's not important. And living from that place in every moment, with every breath, every opportunity to connect is from that place.
Thank you. Okay, Okay, so we've got some questions that came up out of this question. Sandy asked, is being a crone age-based?
Well, I would answer that. I would say, to some extent, and on one hand and one level, absolutely, because it requires living life. It requires a life that's lived. It requires falling down and getting up again. It requires some evolution, some emptying out, some personal shadow work. And that takes time. There's time involved. And yet, also, the crone is not linear. She's not cyclical. In every moment, we can be the maiden, the mother, the crone. The crone, I see the crone in you, Olivia. I recognize her in you, although you're in the maiden phase of your life. And so, it's not necessarily linear, although it has a component of linearity. It can have.
I want to add something to that also you don't just automatically become a crone when your hair goes gray. It requires that willingness to live for truth and to take no more bullshit. And so it's a courageous path. There are a lot of older women that are not interested in the truth. And so the crone stand out and call for that which is true, as Rianne beautifully said early, in any movement of her life, because she's not afraid anymore. So it requires that too, on top of the gray hair, which are mandatory.
Liv, I've got a question.
Go for it, Sanette.
My experience in new moon circles, and especially in the red tent, especially in nature, and especially when I am creative, is a strong sense of the divine feminine. So I was just wondering if maybe the crones can share their expertise and maybe their wisdom on what is the divine feminine and how does it move through us. Is that a clear question?
I'll start by answering that for me, the divine feminine is she who is. It's the Shakti consciousness. It's the ultimate mother who all our wombs are connected to. It's the earth of the body and the body of the earth. And it's it's a recognition that everything that life is, all of existence is sacred, everything is holy. And so it's not that it's only in red tents that you find the divine feminine. It's everywhere. It's in washing the dishes. It's in wiping your child, pooey bottom. It's whether you are doing it in truth and presence, embodied and conscious in every moment. That is her. She's the sensed intelligence that is part of being human. There's the rational intelligence that's linear and logical, but the sensed intelligence of the body is multi-focused. It comes through the body and is of the body, and the body that is connected to the earth and listening to her very deeply and very carefully and being guided by that, not from ego, not from fear, but from a deep trust in life. So it's not like it's only in temples or something like that. It's domestic. It's everywhere. It's just, are we conscious of it, or are we asleep and not actually recognizing that she's everywhere and everything?
For me, the two principal qualities of the feminine would be receptivity and relatedness. And that those two qualities are something that in our world and the way most of us have grown up in patriarchal Western achievement-driven, performance-driven, competitive environments our capacity for receptivity and relatedness has been quite damaged. And that right now on the planet, we actually have an opportunity to repair when we acknowledge that efficiency has no value unless it first comes from relatedness, from connection, from a connectedness, from a knowing, a deep body knowing that every movement is creating reality. And so, yeah, that's what the feminine, when I feel into the feminine, what she means for me.
I'm just gonna add very little because you both spoke beautifully already. I just want to add the quality of vulnerability, really deep surrender and vulnerability, which is the strength of the feminine, and not to be trapped by this word divine, because it's not something falling from the sky, but is rising from the earth, from our humanity. So as to be really deeply human, vulnerably so. Human are very vulnerable, is to connect with this force. So it's very domestic and ordinary, more than out there and attainable. It's already here. And the more we soften, the more she's visible.
And of course, I'm going to add to what Valentina says around, she's always in movement. She is all sound, all movements, and she is sensual, because she's experienced through the body. It's through the senses that we experience this Shakti consciousness or Shakti energy. It is through our senses, and at the moment we're pretty conditioned to really rely on our eyes and our eyes objectify everything, see everything as separate. You know, we want to codify everything, put it in its little box so that we feel safe. But she's wild. She's wild. She's unpredictable. We never know where she's going to take us. She's changeable. I mean, she can change like this, you know. And she's very sensual. She's sexual. You know, she is creating all of life and destroying what needs to be destroyed in order to keep everything that's alive in balance. So I think pleasure has been a big part of what's been repressed in the feminine. This beautiful embodiment and pleasure and sexuality is so much a part of who she is.
Thank you. So there's a next question come up. The next question up is from Alex Henry, asking, how would you define womanhood outside the constraints of the patriarchy?
Lovely question.
I'm just feeling into that in my own body, like what would we look like if we weren't told who we were and told what was okay and what we could feel and what we couldn't feel and what was valuable and what wasn't and what was good and what was bad. I mean, that's what woman and man would be. We'd be expressions of passion and power. We wouldn't have twisted around our own energy in order to become a coherent somebody that can present itself to the world. So desperate to be safe, to be loved, to belong. Yeah. Woman, each of us would look so different. It's like it's hard to even visualize it, because that amount of freedom to express is probably very, very overwhelming for most of us.
I would call it erotic wisdom.
Yeah.
God, that's delicious.
Yeah, Kundalini consciousness.
What did you
Erotic wisdom is so Kundalini consciousness, erotic wisdom. She's untamable. She's wild. She doesn't conform with LAWs, laws that are made by patriarchy. She taps into and is coherent and resonant with natural law, and I call that LORE. So natural law versus man-made LAW, law. And that's her only is the movement that's coming from the earth, that's connecting to everything. She just follows it without question. And often it's a mystery. You don't know why she's telling you to go this way or say this. I mean, I often say I just speak what comes through my womb now, and I don't edit it or censor it. I just speak it. And I have an agreement with her now to speak that truth, whether I understand it or I don't, or I even agree with it logically or I don't. I just trust her so implicitly now. She is mysterious. You cannot understand her with the mind. It's impossible. She's far too big. She can't fit into any box.
So she would be the nameless and the shameless.
I like that.
And the last, I'd like to add that she's ancient.
Oh. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Next question from Alex Marsh is, she's got two questions. Firstly, could you please explain what you feel called to focus on over the Red Tent weekend? Is there any area that you will dive deep into? That's the first question. And the second question is, will there be any Black women present as teachers?
So I'm going to answer the second question first, and to say there will be women of color at the Red Retreat, and at the end we're going to call for donations to make it possible for marginalized women from communities that wouldn't otherwise be able to afford to attend our retreat. We would love to really include inclusivity and diversity in our gatherings. It's very important. So we are going to be calling for that. If you feel strongly about diversity and inclusivity, please make a donation, however small or great. And we're all teachers. In the Red Tent, no one is the teacher. We sit in circle and we share. And yes, Valentina, myself, Rianne, and Lola are holding the space and making sure the container is very safe and strong. But in essence, every single woman is teacher. Every single woman is student. And there isn't one woman who is holding court and, you know, everyone else is just receiving. So the women of color who are there will be equally teaching all of us. And last year we had a woman who's coming again this year who told her whole life story basically in one circle. And it was one of the most beautiful sharings I've ever heard in my life. Really touched me on the deepest level.
So to address the first question, I don't remember word by word, but the main focus is to be together. What does it mean to come together? What does it mean to share power? Which is something forgotten, particularly amongst women, to find harmony. And the feminine mystery, we sharing from the mystery of the body of woman. So the blood, pleasure, yoni, breasts, breath. You're working with breath, movement, fluidity, the harmonious flow that it's so natural in the body of woman and forgotten. So we want to culture all the feminine arts that are not supported in our linear cultures. The masculine talent are much more cultured. And so in the Red Tent, and particularly at the Red Retreat, we want to really spend time to what are the natural talents that moves in the body of woman, and how we spend time with that. And if you want to add anything more to this.
I just want to say that it's actually the answer is there is not a Black woman facilitating at the Red Retreat, because there are the four of us who have taken this on. We've dreamed it into being, and so for now there are 4 women offering, sharing, and it happens to be these 4 women, and as you can see, none of us are Black. That's the simple fact. So, and then the other piece that I feel is one of the primary reasons we're gathering, over and above all the delicious things that that Valentina's already spoken of, is it's an embodiment piece. It's an opportunity when we're together to rewire our nervous systems, because our nervous systems are social. But most of the time we don't feel safe enough. And this environment is incredibly grounded. The river, the earth has a strong pulse. And we're healing each other and ourselves. We're plugging into the nervous system of the earth and resetting our own nervous systems. The big piece is an embodiment piece. It's increasing our capacity for intensity, to feel more, and to stay present in our bodies no matter what is arising in our experience.
And I want to add to that also that a relevant piece also is the undoing. It's not a place where we want to invite women to come and learn, to add onto your glass. And this is the masculine way to learn and become more of something, more intelligent, more knowledgeable. But actually is the place where we want to undo and reveal. True beauty is a process of revealing. And so the 5 days are very important to allow us to constantly unpack everything we took on that is not what we really believe in, that is not ourself, that it was given to us and we agreed even about being a woman. So if it's not for anybody to tell you what is a woman, we're not going to teach you what a real woman is. You will find out for yourself what woman you want to be, because possibilities are infinite. And so we just facilitate the undoing. You know, in my stories that I envisioned this because I saw at many festivals where we used to hold the red tent, often with Kali. We have an hour of time, 2 hours of time, 3 hours, we do a workshop and the women start unraveling themselves and the makeup goes and the hair holder goes and maybe after an hour the top goes, then the bra goes, then maybe the underwear. And eventually when I looked around me, I saw this ocean of absolutely untamed, unrestrained beauty. Natural beauty merging with the valley and the river, and this relaxed freedom in the women. And that was really inspiring for me. And that's the place I wanted to be in. And then the hour was over, and so quickly I watched all these women putting themselves back together, tightening the bra, the harmony around the chest, putting the lipstick on, the hair done, and I thought they were looking so amazing with this wild hair, like they've just made love to the cosmos. And they would pack themselves up in this idea of what they should be to be presentable for the rest of the people at the festival. And off they would go like this and would break my heart, thinking they just left behind the most precious part of themselves. Lucky me that I saw it then, and all this now, hundreds of people in the festival were going to miss out on that pearl. And they were giving them their contracted freedom, their idea of woman, instead of their true self and their perception of woman. That was the real gift. I thought if they walk into the world like this, everybody will drop at their feet. They would throw rose petal in their pathway, because you cannot resist a woman in the freedom of her pleasure. It's impossible. It's a force of nature. And so together we dreamed this place to be a little longer than 2-3 hours, a little longer than 2 days, a little longer than a weekend. And every year we're adding 1 day. And in our vision, eventually, it's going to be a full month's gathering from new moon to new moon, where we can come in and out and, you know, the container can be held. Of course, it's taking a little longer for the organization of that. But the idea of allowing space for the unfolding, it's the medicine. And then everything is done by your willingness to surrender.
And I want to be honest, we don't always know what each day is going to look like because we're not in charge. We are being guided and we're going moment to moment. So it's a very organic thing. There's not a schedule and a program. It's we're trusting and we're feeling and we're moving with that. We have an intention and we have a very light structure, but beyond that, we don't really know. Even us as the creators of this space, we don't really know. And another part of the invitation is we've been stripping stuff out. We've made it longer this year and we've taken more stuff out to really help us as women to stop this crazy doing and achieving and goals and, you know, valuing ourselves by what we do as opposed to just being, just showing up. And being is enough. And also we need to rest and slow the fuck down. Because if we don't, we can't hear her. We can't hear the guidance through our beautiful bodies. And so to that answer of what are we doing at the Red Tent, we don't know.
But we do it so gracefully. They're not knowing. We do it so well. They're not knowing and they're not doing.
I want to invite.
We're coming.
You have something to say, Maureen?
I just wanted to say that we're coming together to be breathed. To be dreamed, to be danced, to be dissolved in the river. Very simple.
As Lola said in the video, we come to play and to pray. I think that really captures it so beautifully. We come to play and to pray in nature, in the elements. Not in a nice fancy retreat center, but right there at the river, under the ocean, under the sky, the stars, the sun, the moon, mountains all around us.
I just want to add, because my eyes dropped into a quest that says, do you incorporate the motherland wisdom during the retreat and give her a stage too? She is giving us space. We're not giving her a stage. She is the stage. She's gracing us with her invitation. Absolutely. Absolutely. The other way around.
How are we doing for time, Olivia?
So we still have some, let me just check. Okay, we have 15 minutes left and we still have some stuff to say. So I think maybe I'll only take one more question just so we can end on time. And I actually want to open it if there's anyone that's willing to speak a question out loud. Just type in the chat box me and then do it. But if not, then I can speak a question. There are some questions still in the chat box. There are, I think you guys can, okay, Beth wants to ask out loud. Okay, Elizabeth, unmute yourself and go for it.
Good evening, ladies. I just want to ask, is there any women in the Johannesburg area that we could connect with when things become more social, that we could, like Sandy and I would love to find a group here. I mean, I don't know if the Crones know of anybody in this area that we could be networked with. We could have something like this, like in a online is beautiful, but that we could have something like this in a physical space.
Yeah.
I
Which
know that
area? Which area?
Johannesburg.
Oh.
I'm being sneaky. I'm sneaking. It's supposed to be related to like the retreat and like the women's gathering, but I'd really like to know where we could have more of this in physical space. Parkhurst, Tanya.
Yeah, there's Ridwana, there's Janaki, There are a few, so we can give the contact details to Olivia, and you can connect with them. They're not what I would say Crones, but you know, it's okay. Women just connecting with women, sharing all different stages of life. It's beautiful, you know. And there is a deep yearning in Johannesburg. I get this from my sisters up there a lot. So for sure, we can put you in touch with some women.
Thank you.
And
I also
so
just
beautiful.
want to, sorry,
It's okay, go ahead.
I just want to say a piece that maybe is also we haven't mentioned and is not clear. At the Red Retreat, we are in the land. The teaching happened under a big red tent, so the feet are in the grass. Constantly, we are exposed to Mother Nature. There isn't a hole. We are not removed from the environment. Maybe that wasn't clear for the lady that asked the question before. We're not teaching in a hall, and we don't have room. We're camping, and it all happened on the land, literally. Your ass is on the land, relentlessly.
Okay, thank you, beautiful Crones. I think that's going to wrap up our questions or Ask the Crone questions. I want to give you the opportunity, though, if there's anything you want to say specifically about the Red Retreat coming up, I'm going to give you an opportunity to say that. And then after that, Rianne, if you want to go into what you touched on a little bit earlier about, just speak about the donation, and also we're going to play a little video. But yeah, to the Crones, if there's anything you want to add about the upcoming retreat.
I want to say that I think the time is now. You know, it's always now. It's just that we don't always realize it's now, but it's really important that the feminine wakes up in each and every woman on the planet. I feel that she is the revolution that this planet needs right now. We sow in our heads with thousands of conspiracy theories and fear messages and so much, which is all part of the old patriarchy dying. It's the death throes of the old, and it's fine. It seems like it has a lot of energy and it seems very powerful. It's not. It's just throwing up big shadows on the wall. But if we want to bring in this new age of embodied consciousness, if we want to protect all the beautiful species on the planet and avert global warming and ensure that our grandchildren and our great-great-grandchildren have a beautiful planet to inherit, then we as women, it's our responsibility to wake up now. Not tomorrow, not in 2 days' time, not in 10 days' time, now. And so please, if you care about this, make it a priority. Don't think there's going to be a Red Retreat next year, or I'm going to, you know, do it now. Make a circle in your own neighborhood in Joburg now, or anywhere in the world. I know Laura, I see my beautiful friend Laura from the Netherlands here. She came and sat with me in retreat once in the Drakensberg, and she's doing so much beautiful work with women now. She's stepping into her power and owning it. And we all can. We don't have to wait to be a teacher. So please, it's not about coming to this Red Retreat. It's about waking up and embodying her, because we care about life. We care about all her beautiful creations. So that's my invitation.
I'm going to pass this. I think I shared a lot. I talked to you about my vision and my dreams. So I think we spoke about the gathering already. I would rather let Rianne speak about the diversity funds.
So last year, the Deep South Dancing Group had a collection throughout the year, and they allocated funds that they collected to a beautiful woman joining us at the Red Retreat. Her name was Trina. It was the first time I met her, but she was a very dear friend of another beautiful woman who is on this path. Sally Berg is on this call tonight. And the piece here to get really clear on is that the important thing for any woman is that the impulse has to first come from within, from you. So it's not a situation where we're inviting people because they're of color or from a disadvantaged community. It's the other way around. First, the impulse to be, to participate must be present. And so I just want to drop that so that we're all really clear. And then this year, Trina will be coming again, and there's another beautiful woman who is sponsoring the full ticket for another woman who's unable to pay for her ticket, but very, very, very much wants to be with us. And we'd love to be able to meet the needs of at least one more beautiful woman who wants to gather and is unable to. And so we're asking you, if you feel called, if you feel a gesture of gratitude. Gratitude is the doorway to your abundance. And if each of us makes a very small contribution, there would be enough funds for another woman to participate. And so you're invited. I think Olivia will put the details up. You're invited to make a small donation or a large donation, and to really know that this is not going anywhere other than to support somebody who'd really, really, really like to be there. I think that covers it.
I just want to add, we are also taking on a sponsorship as the Red Retreat ourselves. So we're also doing in our personal capacity. So that's not down to the culture.
And Rianne, shall I play the video of Trina? If you maybe just want to introduce.
It would be lovely for everybody to meet Trina and just see how her experience was so alive in her and really has carried her through what's become quite a challenging time.
Okay, so Trina, I was at the Red Retreat with Trina, so it's really cool to see her speak about it. I'll just...
Okay. Hi, my name is Trina. I was born here in Cape Town. Then I moved to Eastern Cape when I was 4 years. Then I grew up there, but I came back to Cape Town. I'm the Waldorf teacher. I'm a single parent of 3 boys. I'm staying here in Mercy. Last year I went to a retreat, Red Retreat, whereby I didn't know nothing about it. I was invited by my friend Sally, of which I enjoyed so much. When I go there, I felt so welcome by the other sisters that I enjoy the retreat so much. Then I've learned so much about that, and when I came back feeling so fresh, full of love, that I was ready to share with my children, my mom, with the class with my children, which I've enjoyed. I'm so looking forward for the next one this year to go there. Thank you.
Very sweet. So I'll type in the details for if you want to donate. in the chat box. And yeah, that wraps us up. I want to thank everyone for joining. So Sunette, we're going to do a last little thing where Sunette is going to close the circle with song. And usually we leave our circle, we give like a homework in our new moon group, or just something to set your intention on. And we look at this, we usually check what's happening in the stars and the planets, and well, we actually don't even need to, because in this corona time, I know there's a lot of chaos maybe going on in some people's life. And my invitation to you for this month is to take some time to really ground. So the homework is for you to find a time within the next month, and you can, if you're really dedicated, you can do every day, to find a tree, sit by the tree and take a moment to just ground yourself into the earth and connect to that Mother Earth energy. And if you're coming to the Red Retreat, you can immerse yourself into Mother Nature at the end of October. So that's the homework for this month. And if anyone wants to join, we run a New Moon Circle once a month. It's for free. We redtent for free, Women Together. You can connect with me either on Facebook, or you can just send me a message on here. I'll send my email address, and then please join us, or join these beautiful Crones at the Red Retreat. I was there last year and it was such a beautiful, rich experience. And it's so beautiful to me that so many lovely and different women showed up to today's meeting. So thank you. Thank you to the Crones for sharing your wisdom. And thank you to Sunette for ending in beautiful song. Are you going to do one song, just so we know? You're going to do one song. Okay, so Sunette will do one song. And please join in and sing. Not live. Mute yourself, but sing in your room. And I'll type in the details for the donation. Thank you, beautiful sisters. Mwah.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Love, for hosting us and all the Crones. As Lola's video was playing, I was thinking of this song. It's always nice to just close the circle with a song, just to wrap things up and bring it together. And I was thinking about the song. And really, if you want to be held by the Mother, by nature, you can come to the retreat, because you will really know what it feels like to be held, like solidly, by nature and by the land and by the Mother. Okay, so my wire thingy. As I go down to the river to play and pray, learning about those good old ways, and who shall wear the starry crown? Good God, to show us the way. Oh, sisters, let's go down, down to the river, let's go down. Oh, sisters, let's go down, down to the river to play. You know this is a new song, right? As I go down to the river to play and pray, learning about them ancient ways, and who shall wear the starry crown? A good God to show us the way. Oh, sisters, let's go down, come on down, let's go down. Oh, sisters, let's go down, down to the river to pray and play. Thanks, everybody, and have a good evening.
Beautiful. Thank you, everyone. Have a beautiful evening. We are actually early. It is shocking for me to end right on time, but have a beautiful evening and see you at the Red Retreat. Mwah. Carly, if you want to say something, Crones, say it now as the people leave. Otherwise, we love you.
Yeah, just thank you to all the sisters for coming from all around the world. Please know that even if you can't physically be with us at the Red Retreat, tune in over those dates. We will be tuning in to you. There's no separation. We are one beautiful body of the Great Mother. So you can receive the transmission. Just open to it and you'll receive it. Without words, it'll come energetically. So you're with us. You're with us.
And celebrate the diamonds at the merging of your thighs.
Yes.
Blessings.
Thank you, Olivia. Thank you, Sinette.
Cool. I'll play us out on that song again of We Rise. So if you want to stay just for the last one again. Otherwise, bye, beautifuls.
Yeah, and also thank you, Sonette, for the beautiful drawing that supports the event. I don't know if she was acknowledged. She's not only an amazing songstress, but also a designer, and she really supports the retreat with her creativity, very touching and profound. So, aho.
Oh, thanks, Val. Actually, I'm honored that you guys allow me to express so freely. So for me, it's like it's nice. So I can be creative.
Yeah.
Which is also the divine feminine. Yeah.
Yeah, where everybody win. In the womb of the feminine, everybody's a winner.
Yep. Yep.
Somehow made our ablution, seen other human beings, and said, "Morning, how are you? Fine, thanks, and you?" It's amazing. Wherever that abides in the human being, there is the nobleness of the human spirit. Despite it all, black and white, Asian, Spanish, Native American, pretty, plain, thin, fat, vowed or celibate, we rise. You may write me down in history with your bitter, twisted lies. You may trod me in the very dirt, but still like dust, I'll rise. Does my sassiness upset you? Why are you beset with gloom? Just 'cause I walk as if I have oil wells pumping in my living room. Just like suns and like moons, with the certainty of tides, just like hope springing high. Still I rise. Did you want to see me broken? Bowed head and lowered eyes, shoulders falling down like teardrops, weakened by my soulful cries. Does my sassiness upset you? Don't take it so hard just 'cause I laugh. As if I have gold mines digging in my own backyard. You can shoot me with your words. You can cut me with your lies. You can kill me with your hatefulness. But just like life, I'll rise. Does my sexiness offend you? Oh, does it come as a surprise that I dance? As if I have diamonds at the meeting of my thighs. Out of the huts of history's shame I rise. Up from a past rooted in pain, I rise. a black ocean leaping and wide, welling and swelling, I bear in the tide. Leaving behind nights of terror and fear, I rise. Into a daybreak miraculously clear, I rise. Bringing the gifts that my ancestors gave. I am the hope and the dream of the slave. And so